is to receive public input for the consideration of the proposed text amendments to the Unified Development Ordinance, the UDO, Article 3 and Article 4 regarding a major subdivision review, Article 6, Section 6 regarding multifamily developments, and Article 11, Section 11.2, definitions regarding major subdivisions. The purpose of the public hearing is also to receive public comment for the consideration of the proposed text amendments to the Unified Development Ordinance, Section 9, Article 9, Section 9.3, including non-permitted uses, special use permit requirements, and stormwater requirements.
I think you covered everything. This is the same information that we talked about at the work session a few weeks ago. And just to recap, it covers some amendments in the Cashers regulatory district. We talk about special use permit thresholds, raising those for our zone jurisdictions. We talk about creating a floor area ratio, which for the first time the Cashers will create a maximum building allowance for each property based on the property size. We talk about transportation impact analysis requirements, especially for larger projects. We talk about removing the tiered system for stormwater control, putting everything under the same rules, and creating application requirements for special use permits so we can get a consistent application process in place where we think will benefit the community in total, and which also includes a community meeting being held before the final application is done. On the subdivision, the biggest change in the subdivision is we created a tiered system for major subdivision review and asked for consideration to allow staff to review level 1 subdivisions, which is 9 between 9 and 100 lots. And then for multifamily housing regulations, we also, in the subdivision ordinance, ask that you remove the multifamily bed count from the subdivision definition, and we were creating multifamily development standards that would apply to these developments that happen outside our zone jurisdictions. That's the brief recap, and certainly I'll be happy to answer any questions specific to that that the board may have.
Any questions from the board members? Okay. We did not have anyone obviously sign up here to speak today, and I don't see anyone that signed up online to speak. So with that being said, do I have a motion? Mr. Adams, did you have something additional?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I did want to state that we did receive an email from a Mr. Pendergrast requesting that statements be read into the public hearing. That does not fall within policy. We don't read statements, emailed, written, submitted to the board in public hearing format. I will provide copies of these comments to the board, but it is our policy. We don't read these comments from people who email. If we did that, then if it was a large public hearing, we would find ourselves reading comments from
Correct.
multiple people.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that. And you should have at your station a copy of this email. It is Angie Winchester, our clerk, printed it out, and it is, like has been indicated, Mr. Craig Pendergast. And just make sure the commissioners have a copy of these comments to take into consideration. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. With that being said, do I have a motion then that we adjourn the public hearing?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll give everybody a chance to get in. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. The Jackson County Board of Commissioners today, March 1st, 2022. And the first item of business we have today is a very special proclamation. This is a proclamation honoring Jackson County Little League. And at this time, I'm going to recognize Commissioner Dietz, who is going to, Coach Dietz, excuse me, who is going to present this proclamation on behalf of the board.
But always when I present one, I get to tell a story or something too.
Absolutely.
Did you play Little League?
I did a little.
Did y'all get to play?
Oh, yeah.
That's great. I remember playing Little League baseball, and I didn't know one end of the bat from the other. But I played, and the only thing I want to share with you is I can remember the day that we got our uniforms, and they were wool uniforms because all the uniforms at that time from the New York Yankees down to right over here, that's what they made them out of.
That's right.
And got that wool uniform, and it had been, they hadn't had Little League long, but there's several patches in each one, in the pants in particular. And I remember I went straight home. We didn't have a game for a couple of weeks. I just thought it'd probably be all right if we go home and put that on. And I can remember so distinctly putting that uniform on, looking at myself in the mirror, and being so proud that I got to wear a baseball uniform. And it wasn't, I don't guess it looked real good, but I thought it looked great. And so I got to play Little League baseball, and I wasn't a very good player. I don't know why they didn't cut me, but anyway, but I was on those teams. I'm gonna say one other thing, and I'll hush.
You?
I'm the only person, I guess, maybe in America playing senior league baseball. The last game of the season, I hadn't got but a hit or two or three. And Doug Brooks, which some of you may know, Joshua, he was the pitcher for the other team, and me and him spent more nights together than he and his wife has, I guess. We were big buddies. We were big buddies. And I was at bat, and Doug was very aware that I hadn't hit the ball real well. And so he called timeout, and instead of wanting to speak to his catcher, he wanted to talk to me. So there the catcher, there the pitcher and the batter. We were standing there talking, and there's a picture in in Silver Hurl of that at that time. And Doug, he says, "What do you want me to throw you?" I said, "Well, don't throw a curve. I can't hit a curve." I said, throw a fastball, with Josh out there. I said, but don't throw it real fast. And I actually got a hit. It wasn't much of a hit. But playing Little League baseball and all the things that's happened through the years and all, I read what you'd said, someone there about, in this proclamation about some of the great players we've had here.
Mm-hmm.
And we got players here that hold the national record stuff. And that will never be taken away. It's just awesome. And not only that, we had some of through the years, some of the people that coached people. Now names may not. The sheriff, no, he's real old. Oscar Ashe, you ever heard of him? Any of y'all ever heard of Oscar Ashe?
Name.
He was an old fella. He was a baseball nut. And people like that, a hip coach these old kids. And it was just awesome. Thank y'all. Thanks for what y'all do. Honoring Jackson County Little League, dedication, pride, and teamwork. Whereas the Jackson County Little League is committed to being a preeminent educational athletic organization by encouraging participation, developing character and discipline, promoting teamwork, and advocating for community pride. Jackson County Little League creates a positive environment in which coaches, parents, fans, and players work together to achieve the goal. Uh, whereas Jackson County has participated in Little League since 1957, and is celebrating their 65th season in 2022, three generations of Jackson County residents are currently participating in Little League. Whereas Jackson County Little League is an all-volunteer organization serving youth from ages 4 to 15, and baseball, softball, and the future Challenger program played at Fairview Field and Mark Watson Park. Whereas Jackson County Little League is proud of the achievement of all the players on and off the field, some of our alumni have had standout careers in both baseball and softball, setting local records at high schools, and several players have moved on to notable careers at the college level and the Major League Baseball. And whereas Jackson County Little League would like to thank all businesses and individuals who, over the last 65 years, have donated money, goods, or time to the youth of Jackson County. Jackson County Little League serves over 550 players in the spring and fall seasons and is funded by those player registrations and team sponsorships. And whereas Jackson County Little League games, practices, and all-star tournaments take place at Fairview Field and Mark Watson Field, cultivating lifelong friendships and community relationships. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Jackson County Board of Commissioners hereby declares Saturday, April 2nd, 2022 as Jackson County Little League Day in recognition of 65 years of dedicated service to the county and our youth. Everyone is invited to Jackson County Little League opening the day ceremonies on April 2nd at 10:30 a.m. at Mark Watson Field. Thank y'all.
All right, we've heard the proclamation presented by Coach Dietz. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussions?
Well, I would just like to make the comment, having never played Little League myself, my husband played, he coached, and our son played, and those were some of the happiest times as a family, going to tournaments and playing throughout the state, and it's a wonderful organization.
And I can say echo everything's been said, and Curtis and I had this conversation the other day. I don't think there is anything that we could do that would be more important than supporting the youth of our county.
Right.
Giving them opportunities. They are our future.
That's right.
And we need to do everything we can to help our youth and to support them. And Little League is a great organization, and I very much appreciate all the parents, coaches. A lot of the parents coach, some aren't parents, but appreciate all the organization and the great, tremendous work y'all do to help mentor these young men and women in this sport. It's truly an honor for y'all to be here this evening.
Coach reminded me of my first experience with Little League ball. I went out for the team at trials, and they selected the teams, and they had posted the list of names of who was going to be on each team. I went up on the list, my name wasn't there. I went on all the lists, my name wasn't there. So I got cut my first year, but I made the team and played my second year.
Oh.
My name wasn't on the list.
Other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. We'd love to do a photo. We've got an official proclamation here. We can get copies if y'all would like to do this. Whoever wants to come, all of y'all. Can I say something? Yeah, you're welcome to take your mask off. I've just signed a proclamation to do that.
Awesome. Thank you. I just want to say real quick, thank you guys and girls. We appreciate so much that y'all, help us and make fields available to us, because it's very important. This year alone, I think, at least in the last 5 years that I've been president, we've got more kids signed up in spring than we ever have. We got like 450 kids signed up, which is great. And then plus we do the fall. That number was a little skewed apparently. So also we like to get Rusty, because he's a driving force in making sure we've got what we need. We constantly contact, and every time I call him, he's on top of anything that we need. Ira Jones and his crew, if it weren't for them, I mean, we're very fortunate because even though these folks behind me volunteer, we don't have time to go work fields and do things. So that's part of the county that makes this thing happen. And we want to be sure that from our sake, they know that we appreciate them. Matt Allen and Randy Bryson, specifically do those fields, and they do a great job. Make us play whenever you think, look out, it's raining. We'll still play ball that night because they get it done. And we really appreciate that. I appreciate these folks because without them, kids wouldn't have that place. And they've done a lot of work behind the scenes, and I appreciate these folks. So thank you.
Anybody else like to speak? Take the opportunity if you want to.
Josh, here's your chance.
I'll say while he's recognizing everybody else, I say I'll recognize Curtis because a lot of people don't realize the volume of time and energy that he puts into. And I've got the ability to see the social media, and I see the questions that come in via the Facebook page and things, and he's bam, bam, bam on that stuff. I mean, it's a constant barrage of it. I really don't know how he manages a family, work, and Little League. It's a great job he does.
You get good people around you, right?
That's right.
And it's not only the sport that we're coaching, but we saw in the paper last week where we're building a park in Whittier, and you mentioned that Charles Elders was part of that.
Yes.
We try to support all of those kids, whether it be football or whatever. So just, as a group that's willing to step forward and take that action for the kids in this county, and I've got 4-year-olds and 7-year-olds running around. I think right now we've got about 120 kids that are 6 years old or less. We'll probably have 14 teams of those little ones running around. So it really is a program.
God bless you.
That's really and we're volunteers.
Yeah.
Josh is hunting throw nets to him.
We definitely want Matthew up here in the picture.
Come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's all about.
You can take your mask off, buddy.
Matthew be on the front.
We made us a patch.
Oh, how nice.
Oh, that is nice.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to put this on a visor and wear it.
You got your age on it.
I wish. I just turned 70. I wish.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Do one more. 1, 2, 3. Very good.
I'll get that.
Hey, go good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug. They do good this year, yeah.
Hope that new bathrooms and
Oh, yeah.
all that will be ready for you.
Yes.
So, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, listen. Oh, my
That's a pretty cool patch.
The old ones that are going on is ribbons, I'm up royal. But it's a.
$95 if you go buy one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, man.
Isn't that nice? I love this. Phil's gonna be jealous.
Down there, former field down there. Michigan State.
Very good.
Good stuff.
Okay, our next item of business is the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda that's been presented? Hearing none, then, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I hope you do so.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next is the Approval of the minutes. You got copies of the minutes from our work session on February 8th and then our regular meeting minutes from February 15th.
I'll make a motion to approve the work session February 8th minutes and the regular session February 15th.
Okay, we have a motion to approve them. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Administrative reports. I don't have anything to report this evening. Commissioner Striblin, do you have anything?
Just that we actually finally did my first TWASA Zoom meeting today. And it's quite interesting to see what they've got going on. It's amazing the work they've got going and what's been expanded and all. And I'd been wondering what was going on right there past Creekside. I guess they just replaced a $2 million pump station right there.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm wondering what they've been doing there. So I finally found out what it was. But yeah, had a good meeting today
All
with
right,
them.
very good. Very good. Okay, Commissioner Jones.
I was on the same Zoom call as Commissioner Woody and Commissioner Stribling, and as a TWASA, getting caught up on all the TWASA's projects. It was a good meeting.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Commissioner Woody.
I just wanted to make a comment about bird houses that have been placed along the greenway. And if you walk the greenway, be sure to notice on the sides, there are some of the most beautiful bird houses I have ever seen. And it's kind of a mystery right now. I think the Silver Herald's working on an article about the person that made those and donated them. But they're made out of native woods and burls and just beautifully done.
Okay.
And someone donated those.
Who's making them? Gail, do you know?
Well,
Is it
it's
anonymous?
coming out. Yeah,
It's anonymous.
it is.
Commissioner Deeds? No report? Okay. We'll move on to our county manager, Mr. Adams.
Yes, sir. Excuse me. No formal report today. I did include in front of you, you do have the standard January zoning and building permits. You see in the month of January that the planning department did issue 5 commercial zoning permits and 2 renovation addition permits. And the code enforcement issued 1 commercial LDA permit and 9 renovation addition permits. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, I'll have some updates. There hasn't been any major changes to our construction projects, and so I'll give you an update then. Following up with the Fairview concession stand, they are now moving forward with the trusses. They have closed off the dugouts, and they're allowing use of the fields. Rusty's also got out there porta johns for them to use it, and we do have the storage containers ordered. And hopefully they'll be arriving soon, and that's where Little League and other departments use it for storage. So, but I'll have a more formalized report at that point. And nobody has signed up for public comments, sir.
Okay, no informal comments. So we'll move on to our items of new business, and the first item is our COVID-19 update on the mask policy. Mr. Adams, you want to present what's action's been taking place today?
Yes, sir. What you see on screen, and the board does have a copy of this. This is a supplemental declaration of local state of emergency, lifting restrictions in county-owned and operated facilities. If it pleases the board, I'll go through this so it's for the public also. Where it states, whereas on March 10th, 2020, the governor of North Carolina declared a state of emergency to coordinate the state's response and protective actions to address the coronavirus disease, COVID-19, public health emergency, and provide for the health, safety, and welfare of residents, visitors located in North Carolina. Whereas Jackson County issued, make sure this is up here, where Jackson County issued several supplemental declarations of local state of emergency, and whereas over recent weeks in Jackson County, due to measures taken to date by the state of North Carolina and by Jackson County, there have been improvements in Jackson County's key COVID-19 metrics, whereas the county is experiencing lower rates of the percent of emergency department visits. And as of yesterday, I don't know about today, but as of yesterday, there was no one in our local hospital with COVID. So And so visits that are due to COVID-like illness, the number of COVID-19 daily diagnoses, the percent of total COVID-19 tests that are positive, and the number of COVID-19 associated hospitalizations. And whereas COVID-19 vaccines are now widely available at no cost to all eligible North Carolinians who wish to receive one, and all eligible Jackson County residents are strongly encouraged to get vaccinated and boosted. And whereas due to the totality of the enhanced knowledge and circumstances, the face covering and social distance requirements in Jackson County owned and operated facilities should be lifted in most settings. Now, therefore, pursuant to the authority vested in the chairman of the Board of Commissioners of Jackson County under Article 1A of Chapter 166A of the North Carolina General Statutes and the Emergency Management Ordinance for the County of Jackson, the chairman declares the following. 1, Jackson County remains under a state of emergency as declared March 16, 2020, and as declared in superseding declaration of local state of emergency on May 7, 2020. Jackson County remains subject to all of the governor's executive orders. Number 2, in accordance with guidance from the state of North Carolina, the order requiring the wearing of face coverings and social distancing when entering the public space of Jackson County owned facility or facility operated by Jackson County is hereby rescinded and is now optional. 3, the CDC and public health recommendations confirm that unvaccinated people put themselves at a great risk if they do not wear face coverings and social distance in recommended settings, and is therefore strongly encouraged that unvaccinated people continue to wear face coverings and social distance. Should any provision hereof be declared invalid or unconstitutional by any court of competent jurisdiction, such declaration shall not affect the validity of this declaration, that as a whole or any part thereof which is not specifically declared to be invalid or unconstitutional. Heather, you're giving me a mouth.
You're gonna read it.
I hereby order this declaration to be distributed to the news media and other organizations, and I, meaning the chairman, hereby declares that this be distributed to the news media and other organizations calculated to bring its contents to the attention of the general public, be filed with the clerk to the Jackson County Board of Commissioners, and be posted on the county's website to be sent to the Department of Public Safety's web EOC, Critical Incident Management System, and need to be distributed to others as necessary to ensure proper implementation of this declaration. All the terms and conditions of said local state of emergency declared on March 16th, 2020, and superseding declaration of local state of emergency declared on May 7th, 2020 remain in full force and effect. This supplemental declaration of local state of emergency lifting restrictions in county-owned and operated facilities for Jackson County shall begin on March 1st, 2022 at 6 p.m. and shall remain in effect unless terminated or modified as long as the Jackson County local state of emergency remains in force and effect. Adopted this day, March 22, 6 p.m., signed by the chairman, Brian McNamee.
And I want to say that while we are lifting the mandate for masks in county facilities, I strongly urge citizens to continue wearing masks when appropriate, as the declaration states, especially for those that have compromised immune systems, for those that have family members that may have health issues. There's a lot of reasons that it's good to wear masks.
Sure.
And I'm encouraging people to wear masks. There are times where I will still wear masks. So it is a good thing to be able to wear a mask, and encourage people to continue to do that, continue to social distance, continue to practice good sanitary efforts in washing their hands. All the things that we've been doing. We're not saying COVID's over. We just feel like the numbers are trending in the right direction, that it gives us a little bit more leeway, that we don't have to, in public settings, be mandated to wear a mask, but it would be an option for those that feel like they need it.
And we do have settings, uh, county operations that still require masks. It's more specifically the health department in the medical side of their operations. That's no different than if any citizen goes into their doctor's office or their dentist office. Most medical facilities do require masks. So I just want to point out that people seeking health department services, specifically health and medical services, that there will be still requirements that fall along the guidance of the state and CDC.
Any other thoughts or comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
of course, just what you said is exactly true, and we've got to continue to be vigilant. One of my best friends died in Bryson City, gonna bury him Friday, COVID. Last week. Talked to a lady in Webster this morning, I don't miss her name, but y'all know him. Her husband, she said she didn't think he's gonna make it. He's got the same thing, so, this thing's not, it hadn't gone away, which we'd like for it to, but.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I appreciate the thoughtfulness of this proclamation. And I would just like to make a statement that I hope that people in our community will show great respect for each other, because it's a personal choice now in most situations, whether you wear a mask or not. And to be respectful of people's choice is very important, and not just to assume because I might feel safe not to wear one to say anything negative to someone who is choosing to wear a mask. I may not know the reason that they're doing that, and it's none of my business. But on the other hand, I think it's just so important that we, as adults, be good examples to children and not talk negatively about anyone's personal choice in this matter.
Well said. Any other comments or questions? Well, we just wanted to update the board on what took place today, and hopefully we'll see some better, the numbers continue to improve, and we can look ahead to the future with hope that will be less of an impact on us as a community in the future.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's move on to the next item, which is item 2, the public schools grant match request. Mr. Adams?
Yes, sir. This is a follow-up to the budget retreat that was held by this board. The Board of Education representative, our superintendent of schools and assistant superintendent of schools came and presented all sorts of information to the board, but more specifically, they presented opportunities that they're looking to take advantage of in regards to state grants that are coming available. The due dates on these state grants, I believe, is March 16th. And in order for them to apply, you see I've included the information that was presented to the board at the budget retreat itself. And you can see that they're looking to apply for the Fairview Cafeteria and Classrooms project. Project estimated cost of $8,306,000 and a match request of $415,306. They're also looking to apply for the Smoky Mountain High School Stadium ADA upgrades and track on Jones Street. Project cost estimated to be $7,124,940 with a project match requirement of $356,247. And then you see the Blue Ridge Gym performance and performance space and classrooms. Project cost estimated at $14,451,360 and match request of $722,568. Now, just a reminder to the board and to the public, this is a match required in order for them to submit the application. That does not mean the projects have been funded. Has not been approved, but this is a significant opportunity for our Board of Education to proceed forward and apply for these priorities. It's been a priority for the school system for some time now. Now, we also discussed the total match request is $1,494,121, and we also discussed how this match, if Jackson County and the Board of Education was awarded these funds, where these matching funds would come from. And the matching funds would be proposed to come from the Articles 40 and 42 sales tax, the portion of those taxes that are mandated to go to school operations. So again, just obviously the board knows this is as much for the public as anybody else. Articles 40 and 42 sales tax portion of those are mandated to go to the school's operation. And what you see here is our planning document, in which you can see where we have annual costs associated with the schools themselves. And then, by the way, Mr. Chairman, I am looking for a podium right now. It's going to have a screen right here so that we can see, because honestly, I'm trying to find the appropriate fiscal year.
Current year.
Okay, that's current. Well, you see, next year we do have the funds available to make the match. And this is something that's requested from the Board of Education, the Superintendent of Schools, and Assistant Superintendent of Schools. In order to spend these funds, the Board of Education and the County Commissioners must agree upon what the funds are to be spent upon. And so the Board of Education has made this request, and really, in order for the grant itself, I'm needing to be authorized, or county staff is needing to be authorized to write a letter of commitment and or show that this board has voted to allocate these matching funds for these projects.
Okay. So you need a motion from the board to authorize you to submit a letter in support of this grant application.
Yeah, and basically authorizing the expenditure, authorizing the reservation of this 5% match request. Yes, sir.
And upon getting those grants,
Yes, sir.
these particular things that they're wanting to upgrade or build, that can't be changed, is that correct?
Meaning,
Meaning if they're wanting to build a track, it's got to be, these funds has got to build a track, it can't go somewhere else.
that is correct. It'll be for it's the ADA upgrade at the football stadium, and it's also the track. Yes, sir.
Because they can't, like what the boss is trying to say, is they can't take that money aside, they're going to go build a science building somewhere.
No, sir. And just there will be a lot more information following this. This is a grant application. If the grants are awarded, the school board will have to go through a process of hiring an architect, go through a planning process. It really is just setting aside the grant funds and this 5% match to proceed forward. And there'll be a lot more follow-up information and providing details and information in regards to the specifics of the project. This is really just telling the state that the county commissioners and the Board of Education is willing to match these projects by the 5% to move forward.
And if I remember correctly, there was 450 million set aside for these projects in the state next year, and then another 450 million for the year after that. So if we don't get all three of these or get one or two, we still have an opportunity for next year.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's great.
Other comments or questions?
Well, I have
Go ahead, sir.
the concern I have is a concern I've had since the year I came on this board 8 years ago. You and I talked at length about some of these things, and I was going to say a restroom put in on the visitor side of the stadium over there. And we talked about that 8 years ago.
Yes, you did.
And the chairman and I, one thing we talked about at length, he and I outrighted one day, and we kind of we had a consensus between us, and that every time we asked to get something done, well, we can't do that because we've got to fix this roof, wasn't it? And we got to fix air conditioning, and we got to fix this, and they got buckets in the classroom. Correct, Mr. Chairman? Yeah.
That's right.
And we, between the two of us, talked about, by gosh, let's see if we can't do this, and let's tell them we want a list of everything like that in this school system, and let's fund it some way and get to the point where we can do some other things without every time we mention something, it be that. You remember?
Correct. Absolutely.
And so we did that, and they know that because they mentioned it some themselves the other day, I think. But this is one project I'd like to see done, and I have for 8 years, and it's always when we get almost like we can do this, well, then there's something else that they have to put in front of it. And I want to see that taken care of.
Absolutely.
And it needs to be taken care of.
Yes.
And last year I was up there at one game, and here come this lady, and she was an older lady, and she had walked from the other side up them steps and up that incline to around where those monuments are there, you know. And I heard her say, that just about killed me. And she was walking to go over to that restroom on the other side. And that shouldn't be. When you go to Franklin, they've got restrooms down there. When you go to Murphy, they've got restrooms down there. When you go to Pisgah, Tuscola, anywhere you go, they got restrooms. But out here, and that stadium's been there since 1961. And but we're concerned right now about fixing the press box, and I can show you a picture. I got one home of the press box that was there before this press box was there. So they start working on that. That'll be the third one they've worked on, and I'm not gonna say that. They're still not gonna restroom with this.
Does this include restrooms at all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it does.
Yes, the ADA for the Smoky Mountain High School is, yeah, it does.
Good.
Yeah, it's restrooms. See, it's
For, handicapped accessible bathrooms.
it's making the whole area ADA accessible so that you have accessibility to the restrooms themselves.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
Please.
And does it include restrooms on the visitor side?
Yeah, that's what. Yes, sir. I'll double check that. But yes, my understanding that is part of what we have been listing out. It's just here they combined the ADA upgrades, which includes restrooms and things of that nature, along with that track. Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. Other questions or comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Would someone like to put forward a motion to authorize the manager to write this letter and then to set aside these funds as a match?
I move we do so.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any question or discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Commissioner Deeds?
Yes.
Commissioner Woody?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Stribling?
Yes.
Chairman McMahon?
Yes, motion carries. Okay, next is item 3, the UDO amendments. We had a public hearing this evening, and we had one written comment that was presented to us. No oral comments today. Mr. Poston has 15 seconds.
I think I can.
It started.
I think I can do it in 15 seconds. Just real briefly, what I didn't cover in the public hearing, I'll certainly take any questions that the commissioners have about the ordinance standards, but I want to reiterate is that this did go through a public hearing process at the Casters Planning Council level for the section 9.3. And the Casters Planning Council has recommended these amendments to you and adopted a consistency statement. The Planning Board has reviewed both the Casters ordinance amendments without a public hearing, as is our custom and ordinance requirement. They also held a public hearing for the subdivision definitions changed, Article 3, Article 6, Article 5, and Article 11. They have also approved and recommended approval of these changes and submitted of the amendments and submitted approved a consistency statement for both Casters and the Planning Board purview that these are consistent. As a reminder that you also will have to address consistency if it's the pleasure of the board to approve these amendments. There's a consistency statement that you also received that would have to be approved. It's staff's opinion that these amendments are consistent with our adopted land use plans, including the Casters Small Area Plan and the Jackson County Land Use 2040 Land Use Plan. Just to remind the board that would have to be done as well. Other than that, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Mr. Poston?
Were the both boards unanimous?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Other questions or comments? So would someone like to put forward a motion to approve the amendments as presented? They have been reviewed and gone through public hearing, as well as also approving the statement of consistency.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion to approve the UDO amendments.
Okay, and the consistency
And
statement.
consistency, yes.
All right, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All right, any question or discussion? Hearing none then, Madam Clerk, if you'd call the roll, please.
Commissioner Strebling,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Woody,
Yes.
Commissioner Deeds,
Yes.
Chairman McMahon.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, next is item 4, and Commissioner Dietz, I'm going to let you handle this one, and I'm going to recuse myself from it.
That'd be good. I think we should do that. Since I wasn't prepared for it, I appreciate you throwing my lap.
That'd be item 4, which is resolution.
Nothing like being thrown under the bus, huh?
Yeah, there's no
Get
telling.
this.
There's no telling.
Item 4, Resolution R22-01. This is supporting abandonment of State Road 1537 in Willits. And that road has been abandoned for quite a while. And we, as a county, have asked that the state completely abandon that road, and whoever is the property owners on either side of that joined to it be given that property, which was probably taken from them for that road at some point back many, many years ago. And
Mr. Post.
that's what I'm going to do. All right.
Commissioner Deeds, I'd be happy to fill the need. Absolutely. Why this comes before the Board of Commissioners is General Statute 136-63 states when DOT wants to remove a road or portion of a state-maintained road from the state maintenance system, they need a resolution of support from the Board of Commissioners. That's why we're here tonight to talk a little about that. What the application is before you, Mr. Brian McMahon has made application to the NC Division 14 NC DOT to abandon approximately 0.08 of a mile of State Road 1537, locally known as Willits Road, and you'll see it up on the screen. What we do with the planning staff when we were contacted by Mr. Chris Lee about who is the district engineer for Jackson, Swain counties, and Haywood too, involved there. They asked us to evaluate it and propose a resolution. We have done so. Mr. Lee has also evaluated it. We found the findings of that evaluation is that the road doesn't serve any additional property owners for the portion that is being asked to be abandoned, and that it would not interfere with the ingress or egress of any additional property owners. We find it to be a reasonable request that we would recommend that the board consider approving the resolution that you have attached, which discusses the abandonment of that 0.08 miles of Willits Road. I'd be happy to answer any questions for the board if there are any.
So as we've been asked by one of our constituents to go forth with this, what's the thought of the board?
I move that we accept the resolution R22-01, supporting the abandonment of a portion of SR 1537.
I'll second.
And for discussion, isn't there a road closed sign crossing the road at the very end of that 0.08 of a distance? So that the road ends in this section we're talking about.
There's no road left, I don't think, now that Mr. Constituent.
No, that's the end of it. The road used to, before the construction of the 4-lane, that road went over the hill and down what is now called Wilson Drive. I guess you remember that, where the Henrys had a little store there, little station. And that road was built in 1910.
Yeah, that's over.
And it was Highway 10. It was a 10-foot wide concrete strip that come out of Haywood County down Balsam and went right through here. My great grandparents bought 1910, and that's when my great-grandparents bought it, just shortly thereafter in 1913. So it came down the mountain after they had purchased it. It did happen, and so they came through and elevated portion of that roadbed, damaged some of their property, and they hired an attorney out of Silva named William Sherrill, who represented them in a suit against the state for some damages to other property. But so yeah, that was a old Highway 10. It was built by a steam shovel,
Unreal.
and 1910 is when they started.
Yeah. That's when men were men.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Commissioner Deeds,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Woody,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Stribling.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Next is our appointment section. You have in your packet a letter from Mountain Projects. Commissioner Dietz has stepped down as a member of the Mountain Projects Board, and we do have an opportunity to appoint someone to serve on that board. Is anyone interested in serving in that capacity? All right. I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Commissioner Woody to serve on the Mountain Projects Board. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
But I'd like to speak.
Yes, sir, please.
I've been on that board for 7 years now, since Charles did. And I'd worked with Mountain Projects for many years. I started working with them when I worked for Congressman Heath Schuler with the Congressional District. And I have a great respect for all they do and what they've done. And I was on that board for several years. And every once in a while, you're on a board and you just decide you're not very effective no more, and it's time for somebody else to do this. And so I decided I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I'm not gonna do it anymore. And so I'm glad Gail has decided she'll do that, and because this is very important to us, both in Jackson and Haywood County. And I think it's very important, Ms. Woody, that we have somebody strong to speak up, because I almost thought at times that we sometimes are getting a little short end of the stick in Jackson County because of where the places are located, our offices and all is in Haywood County. So we need a strong person there.
Absolutely. And, you know, there are times, let me just say, following up with what Commissioner Dietz has said, there are times that it's not a bad thing to step down from a board and let someone else serve. I've done that myself. I served on a couple of boards that I felt like, as Commissioner Dietz did, that it was time for someone else to have an opportunity to serve. One of those being the Board of Trustees at the community college. And I stepped down and allowed another appointment to be made. So if you are on a board, always understand there is that option that we can reevaluate and reappoint, and so it can be a good thing.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions? We do have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Stribling,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Woody,
Yes.
Commissioner Deeds,
Yes.
Chairman McMahon.
Yes, motion carries. That brings us down to the end of our regular portion, and we will have need for closed session, but before we do that, is the press on? No one's on from the press corps? Okay, we will take any comments or questions from them at a later date. Tonight is personnel, correct, Mr. Adams?
Personnel and legal.
Personnel and legal. So do I have a motion to go into closed session concerning those two items?
I move that we go into closed session for the next 50 minutes.
Second.
You heard that, Mr. Adams.
How many? 15 or 50?
15 bucks.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I
Okay. I'll go ahead and call the meeting back to order and report that the only action taken in closed session was the approval of the closed session minutes. We do have need for additional item of business here this evening. So I need a motion to amend the agenda and add item 6. And item 6 is going to be the transfer, the selling of parcels from Jackson County to North Carolina DOT, and this includes right-of-way utility easements. So would someone like to make that in the form of motion that we amend the agenda and add that as an item 6?
I move.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Okay, Ms. Baker, do you have anything particular that we need to read as far as a motion on this to make sure we correctly?
I don't. The motion would need to be though to approve the sale of the property on Monteith Gap Road to DOT for $38,000, and authorize the chairman to sign the deed for highway right of way.
Yeah, you've heard the request from staff to approve the sale of county property on Monteith Gap Road. This is near the community garden in connection with DOT's upgrade of that road and the building of a roundabout intersection. This would be in the amount of the purchase price would be in the amount of $38,000. DOT is willing to pay for this property. It would include the utility relocation easements, and this motion would also include authorizing me as chair to sign on behalf of the county. What's the pleasure of the board concerning this request?
I move that we approve the sale of the land on Monteith Gap for $38,000 and approve that our chairman sign those documents.
Is there a second? Second. All right, any questions or discussion about what's taking place? All right, hearing none then, Madam Clerk, if you'd call the roll, please.
Commissioner Deeds?
Yes.
Commissioner Woody?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Stribling?
Yes.
Chairman McMahon?
Yes, motion carries. And with that said, we do, I know we did have a lengthy closed session with some items in closed session that we were not able to finish discussion of. So therefore, we're going to recess this meeting until 2 p.m. on March 8th. That will be next Tuesday. So we'll stand in recess until then.
Thank you.